Hello, everybody. Let me get this camera straight. Good evening. It is Tuesday Night Live. Tuesday Night Live. We are live. Oh gosh, let me get it all together. And it's Tuesday night. Welcome back to Tuesday Night Live. First March. No. First Tuesday in March. Welcome back to the show. Hello, everybody. How is your March so far? Is this starting off to be a good month so far? Mine is phenomenal. Phenomenal. How about you? Please do let me know that you're watching. Drop it down in the chat where you're watching from. And how's your March going so far? I should put it in there. Hello, Tiffany. I see you. I'm going to put it in the chat myself, how my March is going. There's a gentleman. Okay, I probably spelled it wrong. There's a gentleman at my office job, and he's so cool. He's very high energy, a good people. That's the kind of person that you want to work with you. And he's just always bubbly and never down. I'm like, good morning, Juan. How are you? And he's like, phenomenal. I'm like, phenomenal. I am phenomenal this evening. And I am so glad that you are back here to join me for Tuesday night live. I've got a bunch of stuff to share with you. Cruise news, up, down, left, right, and center. We've got a lot to talk about. Some deals I want to share with you, a little bit more information about upcoming trips. So let's just jump into it because an hour goes by pretty quick when I get started here. Sounds good to me. I love it. Okay. I know some of you get your cruise news from me, but many others of you know what's going on. And I'm just like one voice in many that's telling you what's going on in cruise news. But oh my goodness. Last week, I talked about the madness that's going on in Mexico. Well, this week, I'm going to talk to you about the madness that's going on in the Middle East. We are all connected. Let me get my notes up here. Get them together because I want to share with you the top story that I have, and it's about cruise chaos. It's about cancellations and cruises that are stuck. We're talking about what's going on in the Middle East. It's the crisis out there in the Strait of Hormuz. I hope I'm saying it correctly. Hello, Wiz of Corn. I see you. All right, let me tell you what's going on. It says this is breaking news coming out of the Arabian Gulf. So it's no longer just a watch and wait situation. We have thousands of cruise passengers effectively stranded on ships in Dubai. This is crazy. Abu Dhabi and Doha. This is the most significant disruption to global cruising that we have seen in years. All right. So let's talk about it. So how did we get here? What is this all about? It all traces back to this began Saturday, February 28th, just the past Saturday. Widespread military conflict. It erupted following U.S. and Israeli strikes on targets within Iran. So once again, I'm not doing the political news. I'm not even doing all of that, but I have to catch you up so that you understand how this is affecting cruising, how it affects more than just cruising, but here we are. This triggered an immediate wave of retaliatory missiles and drone attacks across the region, especially targeting U.S. military bases and energy facilities in Qatar, in the United Arab Emirates, and in Bahrain, just on Saturday. So here are the results now. Airspace is closed. Major hubs like Dubai International and Doha are essentially shuttered to civilian traffic. There's just nothing happening there. Because the Strait of Hormuz, I hope I'm saying it right, HORMUZ, is now a high-risk combat zone, maritime authorities have advised all commercial vessels, including your favorite cruise ships, that's included, to hold their positions. So we've seen reports of debris hitting the exterior of iconic hotels like the Burj Al Arab in Dubai. And I have another story about debris that I'm going to talk to you about shortly. Hello, Elaine. I see you. Welcome. We've also seen, I'm sorry, this is real and it's happening right now. It's happening. It's affecting more than just our fun cruise travel. It's really affecting life. This is quite serious. So we need to keep an eye on this. So right now, at least 6 vessels are in the grip of this crisis. So let's talk about When it comes to cruising, what's happening with our cruise vessels? Here it is. The MSC Euribia is currently stuck in Dubai, and MSC has officially canceled the March 7th, 8th, and 11th departures that were scheduled. They are following U.S. military guidance to keep the ship at the pier. So if you are or were headed on the MSC Euribia, you probably already know that information, but the MSC Euribia not going anywhere. Also, we have Celestyal Journey and Discovery. The Journey is alongside in Doha, while the Discovery is in Dubai. Both had their March 2nd sailing scrapped. So that happened, what, just yesterday? Yeah. Then we have TUI's Mein Schiff 4 and Mein Schiff 5. These ships are in Abu Dhabi and Doha. And we've seen some harrowing reports of passengers being kept away from the windows. I have a complete separate story to tell you about this. This is wild. After missiles reportedly struck the water near Abu Dhabi. And then we have the Arroyo cruises. The new Saudi Arabian-based line is also monitoring the situation closely as this conflict moves toward the Red Sea. This is wild. Let me talk about the fly cruise logistics, because remember, I just said that airspace is closed. All right, so let's talk about that a little bit. This isn't just a ship problem, right? It's an aviation catastrophe. Airlines like Emirates, Qatar Airway, and American Airlines have suspended routes, of course, as you would think they would. So if you were booked on a fly cruise package, you can't even get to the ship. And those already on board can't leave the ship. It's a nightmare. It's terrible. Cruise lines are currently in talks with embassies to arrange repatriation flights, because that's what it's come to now. But with the airspace closed, well, thousands are simply being told to hold in place, stay in their hotels where it's safe. And that's the best that they can do right now. The ships are currently acting as floating hotels, because the local authorities in some ports like Dubai, they're not even allowing guests to disembark. And that's due to overhead missiles. Oh gosh, the threat of overhead missiles. So if you're booked on the Suez Canal Transit or a 2026 World Cruise, listen up, segments that pass through the Middle East in the next 30 days, they're expected to cancel them. So take a look out for your email. Expect the cancellations. Lines like Holland America have already begin rerouting ships like the Volendam away from the Red Sea entirely. They're just moving it around. Here's my advice. We talked before about some of the things first-time cruisers and every cruiser kind of really needs to keep on their radar, really need to do. And one of the things that I say is go the day before at least, when you're doing a cruise where it's maybe in another country, even more days would be better. But one thing we have talked about, I don't say it all the time, is purchase cruise insurance. So here's my suggestion right now is to check your travel insurance for, and get this, war and terrorism clauses, because they have them. Most standard policies exclude these. Keep that in mind. But because this is a government-ordered airspace closure, you may have some leverage. So check for that. If you're on a ship right now, you already know the best thing to do is just stay calm and listen to what they are telling you. The ships have their own defense protocols, and they're probably one of the safest places to be. Yeah. This is a bit scary. We're not going to freak out. We're not going to panic. We're going to hold on to our faith and stay vigilant and remain safe. But this is something to certainly be aware of. So I have a question that I want to present to you. Please answer this in the chat. So I want to know, does this conflict make you want to avoid the Middle East itineraries for good? Or do you see this as like a temporary risk? Sometimes different places we've had, warnings not to go to Jamaica, not to go to certain other parts of the Caribbean, but it doesn't like last always. Do you feel that this is, I never want to get over to the Middle East now, or do you feel like this is like just a temporary risk right now? I would really love to know your thoughts. This is crazy. Yeah, this is crazy. I'm thinking about the world cruises and those type of cruises that go to this area. Um, you have to be on your guard. Another good reason to watch cruise news. And I'm just one of the people that, tell you cruise news. Stay aware. Stay aware. Get that travel insurance. Go the day before. Make sure you're listening to any updates that you get from your cruise line. That's really the best you can do. Things are unfolding in our world every day. And if you are a praying person and a person of faith, stand your ground in your faith and pray. Pray. Yeah. Let's see. I would avoid it for a while, like a year or so. Yeah, because the ripple effects. I agree with you. This is something that's not going to be, finished in just a week or two. Like I have a cruise in the middle of February, or I'm sorry, March. February is over. That's something you're still going to have to be wary. Even next month, keep a watch out. Keep a watch out. Yeah. So my second story has to do with this very thing, and I wanted to combine these two because I'm telling you what's going on there in the Middle East. Now let me tell you what happened to a ship that was already there. This is, oh, wow. We are blessed. I don't use the word lucky. My notes want me to say lucky, but I'm going to say the miraculous escape of Mein Schiff 4. Mein Schiff 4. Have you ever heard of Mein Schiff? I've talked about those cruise lines before. They've been in the news. Let me talk to you about them again. Let me tell you what happened. So, talking about the delays, right? And the groundings and all that, but we need to talk about how close these conflicts just came to a major cruise ship. Real life. So, on Sunday that just passed, Sunday, March 1st, passengers aboard the Mein Schiff 4, which was in Abu Dhabi at the time, didn't just hear about the war. They saw it right there on the ship. A missile struck the water just meters away, feet away from where they were docked at Port Zayed. Let me tell you how they escaped it, what happened. As the regional conflict between the U.S. and Israeli and Iran escalated over the weekend, the United Arab Emirates air defense systems were working overtime, thank goodness. However, during a very heavy barrage of these missiles on Sunday and projectiles, either a direct strike or significant debris from an intercepted missile plummeted into the harbor right next to the Mein Schiff 4. Oh my gosh. Witnesses on board reported seeing this massive plume of black smoke rising from the water just off the side of the ship. Right? German media outlets, including Bild or Bild, B-I-L-D, are reporting that the panic on board was instantaneous, which, of course, that would be what would happen if I was on a cruise ship and a missile or a debris struck just feet from me. Yeah, that would be crazy. Imagine sitting on your balcony in Abu Dhabi and seeing a missile hit the water right in front of you. I don't want to imagine that. No, don't imagine that. But that is the reality for the 2,500 passengers that are currently on board the vessel. So Mein Schiff 4, there in Abu Dhabi, 2,500 passengers, and in comes this debris or missile or whatever. Crazy, crazy. The crew acted immediately like crew are trained to do. And, kudos and 2 thumbs up to the crew. Those crew, they go through so much just with the regular 9 to 5 of a cruise. Drunk passengers and people being irate and rude and entitled people and kids running amok and all the things that happen on a cruise every 5, 6, 7 days, right? They have their hands full just taking care of that. Now let's add missile strikes. 2 thumbs up to the cruise. It says they acted immediately. They heard the code of Alpha, or similar emergency was likely called, as passengers were ordered off the open decks and told to move to the interior of the ship. Announcements blared over the PA system telling guests to stay away from windows and balcony doors. Don't go out on your balcony to see what's going on. Hey, No, none of that. You don't need to see. You don't want to be part of the news, not that way. On their sister ship, the Mein Schiff 5, which is currently stuck in Doha, passengers are reporting that they are receiving incoming missile alerts from Qatar Civil Defense directly on their smartphones. So they've got their phones and they're hearing this Craziness. Wow. For those on Mein Schiff 4, they were eventually mustered in the ship's theater for safety briefings while the United Arab Emirates military secured the port area. So those muster drills that, we don't like to do, but we like do them and get them out of our hair so we can go have a good time. They're there for a reason. You would know where to go in case of that emergency, right? Well, the good news. The good news is TUI Cruises has confirmed there are no reports of injuries. Nobody was hurt, and no direct or structural damage to the ship. So that is the good news. Nobody was hurt. The ship wasn't damaged. The hull is intact. Okay. Now, the psychological impact, something completely different. That would weigh on your mind. Like I say, if you're a praying person, yeah, yes, hoping, how scary for those passengers hoping for a safe return, Tiffany said. Correct. That's crazy. Good evening. Good evening. I see you there, Travel Cake Trips. Let's see. The passengers were supposed to fly home to Germany on Sunday, so 2-3 days ago. Instead, they are now sheltering in place on a ship that is effectively a floating hotel in a combat zone. Prayer, praise, prayer. Be vigilant. Because the Dubai and Doha airports are closed to civilian traffic, these guests can't leave. They've been told to return to their cabins, but they have to live with the knowledge that the port that they are sailing in is a target. And that's crazy. That would make you very nervous. So TUI is currently working with the German Foreign Office on a repatriation plan, but until the skies are clear, these 2,500 people are staying put. They've got to stay right there. Yeah. Very scary. My gosh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just thinking, I'm sitting here thinking about it now. We've been in situations on cruises that have been slightly scary. I've told you the story many times. Our very, very, very first cruise was during 9/11. We were out in Jamaica on 9/11 when all of that transpired, and all of the Jamaican people knew we were tourists, and they were like, "Oh, you better run home. You better check on your family. Don't you know what's going on?" And no, we didn't. But the mood was so heavy. It was strange and weird that we thought, well, let's just go back on the ship and check out what's going on. And then we went back on the ship, and then blaring over all of the systems was the information. And then they started letting us see the news. So that was really, really heavy, and we couldn't believe what was happening, but we weren't in danger. We were in Jamaica. We ourselves weren't in danger. Now, our ship was scheduled to come back to port the next day, and ports were closed. So it affected us directly. We couldn't come back to port. We had to shelter out there on the sea for a day. Then they put us up in a hotel the next day because the airports weren't working. So that was very intense because we were all nervous about airports after what had happened. But our ship itself wasn't directly, in any type of danger. And we were nervous. So the feeling that they must be going through there, prayers to them. Let's see. This raises a massive question for the industry, right? So when terrible things happen sometimes, that's when good change can take place, right? Unfortunately. So questions here. Should cruise lines have pulled out of the Gulf weeks ago? Tensions are heating up. We know some things. We might not have known that this was going to happen when it did, but tensions were heating up. And should the cruise lines have said, okay, we're not, out of an abundance of caution, how they say it, we're not going there? And if you were on that ship and saw the missiles hit the water, would you ever cruise in this region again? Let's talk about it in the chat. I want to hear your recipe for safety when things get real. This is crazy. Yeah. Wow, just straight out the bat cruise news stories that are tough. The good thing is they were all safe. And the good thing is the ship was not infected. I said infected like like sickness, affected. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. I would really like to know. I'm going to throw out something that's a little bit lighter because that's kind of heavy. Yeah, Travel Cake Trips, I hear you. I don't think I would either. I don't know. I always want to keep myself open to venture out and see this beautiful world that God gave us. It's so much out there to see that I still haven't seen yet, even though I consider myself like a traveler. But this might really make me go, well, maybe not. I kind of agree with you. I kind of agree. Uh-huh. All right. Let me lighten the mood just a little bit. Welcome again to Tuesday Night Live. I want to tell you some. Hold on a second. Let's see. I want to give you some trivia, something lighter, some fun cruise facts. Let me do that. And then we're going to move on to some of our other cruise news story. Here's a fun cruise fact. Water everywhere. This is how I'm going to start this off. All right. A standard mega ship, like let's say the Icon of the Seas. That's a big boy. We're calling the world's largest cruise ship standard now. But a standard mega ship like Icon of the Seas uses over 500,000 gallons of fresh water every single day. Every single day. But here's the other part to it. Most of it is made from seawater right on board because they have their own water treatment plant. So the water that's right around, they're treating that and turning that over. I think that's kind of interesting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. That's kind of interesting. All right. Let me see. I have a little game I want to play at the end of our time tonight. And I have to think of the answer whoever gets the answers right. I'm going to give you more than just a congratulations, maybe virtual high fives and hand claps, but I want to see if you know your cruise trivia. We'll talk about that later. That was just a cruise fact. I've got some cruise trivia to give to you too. All right, let's get back to our cruise news stories because we have some heavy hitters tonight, right? They're not all war. Let's move on to something more upbeat. Let's talk about the Disney Adventure. And we've been talking about that beautiful ship. We've been talking about her. I'm getting excited. For the last couple of weeks, let me tell you what is happening with the beautiful Disney Adventure right now. Let's move on to that. So hold on to your Mickey ears. Okay, here's an aside. I get, movies. I think about movies. Does this make you think of any movie? And it's a goofball comedy. I'm not talking about Mickey Mouse ears. I'm talking about an actual movie. And there was this one scene in the movie where I'll give part of it away. There's this band of pirates and they do this. Do you know what movie I'm talking about? That made me think of that. Hold on to your Mickey ears because history was just made in Southeast Asia today. Drop it in the chat if you know what movie I'm talking about. And if you don't, be like, who cares? I'm going to tell you in a little bit. Today, March 3rd, the largest ship in the Disney Cruise Line fleet, the very massive Disney Adventure, officially pulled into its new home port in the Marina Bay Cruise Center in Singapore. Yay. This isn't just a new ship. It is a 208-ton game changer for the entire industry, not just for Disney and not just for Southeast Asia, okay? So they received a grand welcome, and it was a lot of fanfare. The arrival was pure Disney magic, and as you know, I just got off the Disney magic a little while ago, and they know how to make it feel magical. As the ship approached Singapore after a 2-month journey from Germany, it was greeted with a massive ceremonial water salute and a spectacular fireworks display that lit up the Marina Bay skyline. I bet that was so cool to see. That had to be so pretty. Disney even rolled out the red carpet for over 200 local cast members to celebrate, which is very cool. Now, this ship is huge, right? Nearly double the size of the Disney Dream. So it's their biggest. They made it, they went bigger. And it is the first Disney ship to ever be home ported in Asia. Yeah, it's staying in Singapore for at least the next 5 years. So if you want to sail her, start looking at flights to Changi Airport. I probably didn't say that right. Sorry. So here are some of the reasons why this ship is different. And we already talked about last week who the godfather of that ship is, Robert Downey Jr. Well, here's some of the reasons why it's different. The Disney Adventure wasn't originally a Disney ship. We talked about that. It began its life as the global dream for the now defunct Dream Cruises. Disney bought that partially finished vessel and spent 2 years Disney fortifying it into a seven themed area masterpiece. Okay, it's a record breaker. It features Marvel Landing, which has got to be so much fun. Oh my gosh. Which houses the Iron Cycle Test Run, the longest roller coaster at sea, over 820 feet long. That's a lot of roller coastering on a cruise ship. Yeah, that's going to be so much fun. I'm just thinking about it now. I didn't even get on the roller coaster that's on the what is it? Carnival Cruises, but I got on this one. Yeah. No, I didn't. I wouldn't get on this one either. What am I talking about? I promise you that there's just tea in here. I don't know why I said that. Okay. It has the first castle at sea. You know how Disneyland and Disney World, all of the parks, they're famous for the beautiful castles. Well, this one has the first castle at sea. It actually has a castle inspired area. Sorry about that. Let me do this. There we go. All right. It actually has a castle inspired area in the center of the ship called the Disney Imagination Garden, which serves as a massive open air performance venue. That's going to be fun. What's on board? 7 worlds. Because the ship is so big, it holds 6,700 passengers. It's a lot of people. Disney divided it into 7 distinct worlds, right? You've got San Francisco, straight from Big Hero 6. You have Toy Story Place and Wayfinder Bay for all the Moana fans. And don't worry, your favorite recipe for dining is still there. They have Animator's Palette, which if you haven't seen my videos to Animator's Palette, please check them out after this live. That's the one part of the Disney tour that I took, that my behind the scenes travel agents only tour when the ship was nearly empty. That made me cry. It was Animator's Palette. So they have that, but they've also added new regional concepts like Mowgli's Eatery to celebrate the flavors of the region. Yeah. So of course it's going to have Asian inspired, eateries and flavors and foods and music, as it should, right? Its maiden voyage kicks off in just 7 days on March 10th. All right, be honest in the chat. I need to hear it. Is a roller coaster and a castle enough to get you to fly all the way to Singapore? Would you fly all the way to Singapore to get on Disney's biggest cruise ship with all this fanciness? Or are you waiting for these mega ship features to come to the ships in Florida? Let me know if Disney Adventure is on your 2026 bucket list. Yeah, I've got some no. That's not going to do it. That's not going to cut it. And an answer to that movie that I was talking about is the pirate movie. Have you ever seen that movie? Slapstick, goofball, comedy, madness. And in that movie, it's called a pirate movie. They're pirates on a ship, but they're singing pirates, so they weren't that bad. And he says, and I'm Annette Funicello. And if any of you are old enough to know who Annette Funicello is, okay. So my daughter wasn't old enough to know who Annette Funicello was when we were watching that movie years ago. And so I'm going to let you in on a family joke. So we're watching the movie and my young daughter sees the guy do that. And she has no idea who, or to her, what an Annette Funicello is. So she says, "What's a net full of Jello?" And we all looked at her and just laughed. Yeah, maybe you had to be there, but I'm sharing that with you. Okay. All right. I want to tell you a little bit more about Disney Adventure because I have some fun facts here. Okay. The price of transit, because it just got there, right, to Singapore. Disney reportedly paid between $500,000 and $1 million just in canal tolls to get the ship from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Okay, here's another aside. Do you live in a place where there's toll roads? Blech, I don't like them. I don't like it. Oh gosh. I pay for the roads. It's called taxes. All right. I'm not going to fight with you, but I don't like it. I like the fact that there are toll roads, meaning there's a way to alleviate traffic, but they shouldn't be toll. Build the roads, and that's going to help to alleviate the traffic that I've already paid for. Okay. Let me get off my soapbox. But think about how much we pay in tolls just trying to not be stuck in the gridlock, right? We pay 10, 12, $20, 40, 50 a month. Disney paid $1 million. Oh, golly. $1 million in tolls just to get through the canals. Wow. And the ship features the first ever bum boat. And I was like, bum boat? What is that? Because I had no idea what a bum boat is. Does anybody know what a bum boat is? Well, they have the first ever one. So I researched it. What is a bum boat? In Singapore, a bum boat, also known as a tongkang, is a small, iconic wooden boat that has been used for over a century to transport goods and passengers across the Singapore River. They are famous for having eyes and teeth painted on the bow to help the boat, see and scare away evil spirits. So that's going to be on the Disney Adventure. It's going to be like a themed lounge inspired decor in several of the ship's casual areas. So cool. They're doing what they should. They're paying homage to where they're going to be, right? They're going to be over there in Singapore. So, kudos to you, Disney. All right. I have more cruise facts for you before I go to my next cruise news story. Let me find it. I have some very interesting two stories that I'm really interested to see what you think about, because I'm like, I don't know if I believe that or not. But it was on the internet, so it must be true, right? Okay. Yeah. Give me another cruise fact. Okay. The hull art for the Disney Adventure. The hull art is the first in the fleet to feature Mickey and friends in a traditional Southeast Asian artistic style to honor its new home port. So Disney and friends are on the hull, but they look Asian inspired, Southeast Asian inspired. I'm not sure what that looks like, but I bet it's cool. Fun fact. All right. Any gamblers out there? I'm going to talk to you about something that Carnival is doing that I kind of think I like it, but I want to know what your thoughts are. And it's gambling, but it's not maybe it's more of a lottery than a casino. You heard about what's going on with Carnival? They're doing this fleet-wide lottery game changer. Interesting. Let me tell you about it. So for any of us who dream of winning the lottery so that we can then just live on a cruise ship or quit work or travel or do whatever it is or buy mansions all over the world, Carnival might have just made that a reality. Okay, so we're talking about what's called Carnival Millions. Have you heard about this? So this isn't like a standard bingo or even a local casino draw. It's the first ever, and this is fleet-wide, linked lottery at sea with a $1 million jackpot up for grabs every single day. They're going to be giving away $1 million a day. Let me tell you how it works, because of course, it's not just that easy. How the tech works. So how does it really work? Carnival partnered with a tech company called TimePlay to link ships across their entire North American and European fleets, right? So, all the ships you get on the majority of ships you get on your app, and Carnival's is called the Hub app. You don't go to the casino to buy a paper ticket. Everything is done digitally on the Hub app. Once you're on board the ship, you use the ship's Wi-Fi. You can buy your ticket for the daily draw. So get on there. Don't even have to go to the casino. Buy your ticket. Every ship from the Jubilee in Galveston to the Mardi Gras in Port Canaveral is part of this same coordinated electronic draw. It doesn't matter which ship you're on. Everyone is looking at the same winning numbers at the same time, all connected. Okay, Let me tell you about the prizes and, of course, the catch. Let me tell you. Now, what can you win? Well, obviously, there's the $1 million grand prize every day, but there are a ton of secondary prizes too, because everybody's not going to win that. We're talking about OBC, onboard credit, spa treatments, specialty dining vouchers, and the best part, instant notification. You don't have to wait. You're notified. They do the draw and you're notified immediately. You don't have to wait for an announcement over the PA system. Thank goodness. If you win, your phone will buzz with a notification immediately. Now, if you hit the big one, if you have just won $1 million, the ship's casino and guest services team, they're going to come find you. You're not going to just get a buzz and say, you're a millionaire. Yeah, okay. Guess I'll go get a drink. I'm a millionaire. You're a millionaire. We're all millionaires, right? Talk about a knock on the door you actually want to hear. Open your cabin door and there they stand telling you that you just won $1 million. I can deal with that. So let's be real. Let's be real. Some people in the community are calling this the ultimate cruise tax. They're skeptical about the odds. What are the odds if fleet-wide all of us are playing this? But here's my take. Carnival is leaning into that shared community vibe. That's what they're doing. Imagine being on the Carnival celebration and knowing that someone on the Carnival Sunshine halfway across the ocean just won $1 million. It adds a level of like Vegas energy to the entire fleet. Of course, you can buy multiple tickets for an upcoming draw on your voyage. If you're on a 7-day cruise, you have 7 shots to become a millionaire before you hit the disembarkation port. Does that make it better? Every day they're doing this drawing. What are your thoughts? Be honest. If you want $1 million on the last day of your cruise, ooh, I can see it. Would you even get off the ship? Or would you walk straight to the shore excursion desk and book a back-to-back? Can you imagine? And I can. I see it. I vividly see multimillionaire status in my life. I do. How much are the tickets and all of that good stuff? I don't have all that information yet, but I certainly could imagine winning $1 million. Would you play Carnival Millions? Yeah. I would. And I'm pretty sure on my next Carnival cruise, I'll try it out. Why not? Right? So this actually replaces the old pick 3 and pick 4 systems on some ships, which only had jackpots around like $55,000. Yep, Carnival just 20 times that stake. Wow. It's more like a land-based, close to like a land-based Powerball kind of game, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, thank you very much. My hair is sticking up, I was told. Thank you. Yeah. I wouldn't mind trying it. I've go to the casino and like I told you, just my $150 and I'm good. So I'm in there anyway. And you don't even have to go. I can just go on the app and why not? I used to play bingo, but I don't do that anymore. I would definitely try out the Carnival Millions. Yeah. Let me see. Tiffany, what did you say? I would get off to buy a house and think about correctamundo, right. Maybe I need to go home and let a couple of people know that I'm going to be gone for a while and shut a few things off and get my home or 2 or 3, start buying up some land, get back on the ship. Hey, let's do it again on the next cruise. I hear you. Wow. I like it. Some people are very skeptical about it. They're thinking it's just another gimmick. And I mean, come on. But you don't have to, do it if you don't want to. You don't have to spend your money on any of the extras that the cruise lines push at you. And they push them. They push them all day. They push them hard because, it's a business. They've got to make the money. They don't make enough money just with our cruise tickets. They're trying to get you to buy their drinks and play their bingo and buy their watches and get a spa treatment and all that other stuff. So some of the stuff I would do. Mm-hmm. Yes. All right, let me move on to how am I doing with time? Ooh, very good. Halfway through, and we're halfway through. I want to talk to you about Royal Caribbean now. Do you see what they're doing? If you don't, let me tell you. Royal Caribbean's $5 soda tax and drink package shrinkflation. That's what I've put my notes together to call this segment that I'm going to tell you about now. Let me tell you about Royal Caribbean. So if you have a Royal Caribbean cruise booked for later this year, you need to check your cruise planner immediately. Why? Because Royal Caribbean is making a very quiet but very massive change to their top tier drink package that is leaving a very sour taste in many passengers' mouths. We're talking about the removal of a fan favorite perk that's been included and the introduction of what many are calling nickel and diming soda tax. You know, I here's another aside. I was talking to my mom and I was kind of telling her, if you tell me up front like what something costs, then I'm prepared. If you tell me that the cruise package is $800, but after all is said and done, it's really $1,400, I'm not prepared. And I don't like that. But tell me, well, Cynthia, the base is this and that, but once it comes out of your pocket, I need 1,600 of your dollars. Okay, I'm prepared. But it's the nickel and diming that I think drives us all just like, don't do that. That is a lot of the reasons why people take ultra luxury cruising, because although the sticker shock might hit you up front because it is triple or double what we're paying now, they don't push all of that stuff at you because you paid for it. The drink package is included, specialty dining is included, spa treatments are included, excursions are included. Most of the time, all of the rooms are balconies. You know, it's included. They're not constantly trying to squeeze every dollar out of you. All right, tell me if you think this is what Royal is doing. All right. Let me see. Where is it? Okay, the new, and this takes effect March 15th. So not a lot of time. So I'm warning you ahead of time. March 15th, what, in 12 days? Starting March 15th, 2026, Royal Caribbean is officially stripping the Coca-Cola souvenir cup and access to the freestyle machines from the deluxe beverage package and the Royal refreshment package. So previously, before the 15th, if you bought those packages, you got your cup, you could go to those freestyle machines and order it up, load it up. For years, these cups were the golden ticket to over 100 flavor combinations at those self-service machines. You could go there and try them all, right? But for any package purchase after the 15th, remember that's your deadline, the cup is no longer included. No, instead, if you want it, you will have to pay an additional, it's only one time, but it's an additional $5 per person on top of the package that you already paid for that costs you anywhere between $70 and $115 per day. So an additional $5 more or $4.99 more. The irony and the loophole, because there's both to this. Here's the kicker. The classic soda package, that's the cheapest one that they offer, still includes the cup. Right? So the people paying the most for the deluxe alcohol package are the ones being asked to pay extra to get the cup, to continue to get the sodas, as they call them. I'm just reading the notes and what they're telling us. Royal Caribbean says this is likely to reduce waste. That's why they're going to charge us $5 more. Yeah. Yeah. But let's be real. Those machines are a high maintenance tech nightmare for the crew. By putting a price tag on the cup, they are betting most people won't bother, reducing the lines at the machines and the inventory that they have to carry. But it does mean if you want that raspberry Sprite at 11 p.m., well, you're now walking to a bar and waiting in line for a fountain pour instead of hitting the machines. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So here's the strategy. Here's what I'm going to tell you. This is how you can still save, right? Here's the right recipe for this one. It's the grandfather clause. So if you purchase your drink package on or before March 15th of 2026, remember that's the date, you are safe. You can still get your cup and your freestyle access for free, even if your cruise isn't until December, right? So pre-purchase it. But here's a warning. Here's a warning. If you have a package booked now and you see a price drop after March 15th, do not cancel and rebook to save the $2. Don't do it. If you rebook after the deadline, you lose that free cup benefit. And then you're going to be hit with that $5 fee. Yeah. Yep. So I've got to ask you in the chat. Then I see some things have gone up. I'm going to take a look. Is $5 really a big deal? You know, it's just $4.99. You've already spent $3,000 on the vacation. Is $5 a big deal? Or do you feel that it's the principle of being charged for a cup after you already spent $800 on the drink package? Is Royal Caribbean pushing it too far with the add-ons? Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Let me see what we have said. Yeah, Travel Cake Trip says, we think it's great that they have secondary prizes, talking back about Carnival, because, you know, you're going to spend your money on the ticket. And I did not get the price of the tickets. I'm wondering that myself. And everybody's not going to win the million, right? But others will get to win some other prizes. And I like that too. So there'll be multiple people winning something. I like that. I like that. Let's see. Oh, I look beautiful. Thank you very much. Thank you. Booking Travel Cake Trip says booking a back-to-back sounds perfect. Yep. Yep. Back-to-backs and side-to-sides. Those are the way to go. I love it. So I got to pour the soda in my hand if I don't get the $5, right? Right. Just another way. I'm going to talk about it. And yep, nickel and diming, that is not cool. So most of us have been cruisers for a little bit, right? We remember pre-pandemic cruising, how it used to be. And sometimes I do, after I sit down and curate these cruise news stories, I gather all the stuff that I'm going to report to you and put it all together. And I start thinking about it. How much cruising has changed, how very, very, very much it's changed, right? And I'm like, they were able to do so many things before. And now it's, you know, it's not affordable. They can't stay afloat. It's kind of mind-boggling. But I just see everything in the interest of saving money and reducing staff. Saving money and reducing staff. I don't see a whole bunch of guest experience being the focus. I'm not saying I don't see it. You know, new ships are something we all gasp and enjoy, and new shows and entertainment options. And I'm talking specifically now about free entertainment options. I'm not talking about the things that continue to pull extra money. Free shows, and they're still doing that. But in so many instances, they take perks away, things away that were just standards for years on top of years, and they say that it's, you know, to reduce waste or save this. But what I see is they want to reduce the staff and cut their spending. But prices are certainly not going down. Now I'm on a rant right now. I'm on a rant. They lying. Yep. I don't. Some of it now. I'm still not at that point where I'm like, forget cruising. I'm figuring out another way to travel right now. And I mean, I do other kinds of travel. It's still probably the most economical way to get a total travel experience, right? But I do see so many cutbacks that I don't like. I don't like it. You know, it started after the pandemic. You know, no more twice a day cleaning of your room, and no more free room service, and no more, you know, we can't do this anymore, and we won't have that anymore. Oh, you have to pay extra for a second entree, and so many things that are not for our benefit. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Like, I just voted today. Today is March 3rd. It's election day. And here, you know, when you don't like what's going on, you vote. I don't know. Can we have a cruise vote? We the people don't like you nickel and diming us. We are prepared to get on your ships. We are prepared to pay. We're going to pay for the extras that we want. If we want to go to a specialty dining restaurant and instead of going to the buffet, I'll pay the extra money, right? If I want to get my spa treatment and all that, I'll pay the extra. But it's those things that we know that maybe we thought should come along with it, or the service that, yeah, don't nickel and dime me. So I don't know. Nickel and dime police, where are you? Somebody needs to help us out, because I believe it's a little bit of nickel and dime. And what do you say? Yeah, I believe it is. All right, I'm off my rant. If you want to rant, jump down in the comments and let's rant together. Yeah. All right, I have another story that I want to share with you before I get on to some spectacular cruise deals and the game I want to play. All right. Now this one's interesting. This one's interesting. Let me hear your thoughts about this one. This is the title of this last story that I have for us. The rise of the kid fluencer. Who's really booking your cruise? Kid fluencer. All right, let me tell you what I'm talking about. Think you're the one in charge of your family vacation? Think again. There is a massive shift happening in travel booking right now. I'm a travel advisor. I get it. People call me or email me or DM me, and here's the shift. It's called what we have now called kid fluencing. That's right. New data for 2026 shows that the recipe for travel is being written by the youngest members of the family. And the cruise lines are spending billions to keep up with them. Let me give you some statistics on what I'm talking about. This came from the MSC report. So according to a major 2026 travel trends report from MSC Cruises, over 80% of parents now admit that their children play a significant role in choosing and planning the family vacation. Maybe the major role. We aren't just thinking or talking about picking the cereal. Kids are now the primary researchers. They're finding ships on TikTok and YouTube, seeing the 100-foot slides and the Iron Cycle coaster on the Disney Adventure, and that's how they're deciding, I want to go on that. They're telling their parents exactly where the family credit card needs to go. It's definitely happening. And why is it happening? The screen to see pipeline. Why this shift? It's the rise of travel on screen. Today's Gen Z and Gen Alpha, yes, it's cycling all back over again. These travelers use things like TikTok as their search engines. Hashtags, you know what I'm talking about? Like hashtag cruise have over 32 billion views. And I use TikTok big time. Please go on to TikTok and find me over there for my Right Recipe Travel channel on TikTok. The hashtags, they're right. I use them. That's how I pull in lots of views. When a kid sees a viral video of Icon of the Seas or the new MSC World America with its 11-deck dry slide, they become the best travel agents in the world. They help us out. And cruise lines have caught on. Best believe it. They are no longer just marketing to mom and dad. They are creating Instagrammable spaces and high-tech experiences. That's why you're seeing all this like AI-powered kind of robot dogs and humanoid robots now being piloted on MSC. And it's done on purpose to get that viral kid approval factor. So what is it? It's this multi-generational impact. So here's my takeaway about it. And I want to know if you were guilty of this in your family, or what do you think? This isn't just about the kids. It's about multi-generational travel. When the kids are excited, the parents are happy usually, and the grandparents, who are often footing the bill. They're much more likely to book if everybody's happy, if the kids are on board and they're happy. That's why we're seeing silent discos for teens right next to upscale wine bars for adults. And yes, it is very true. So if you're a parent or a grandparent, the kid fluencer trend actually makes your life easier. You let them choose the ship with the best clubs and the best tech. And you that just helps to ensure that like they're not bored. You don't want to be on a cruise having a great time. Your kid's like, Mom, Dad, I'm bored. You're like, psh, 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 psh. I'm sorry, you don't physically slap your kids. I was just, using that as an example, but you're like, don't be bored. You can't be bored for a $5,000 trip. Go find something to do. But you let them choose the ship. You let them choose the space that has good clubs and all this tech that they want. And it just helps to ensure that you don't get that I'm bored kind of thing. And that's just a way to help you relax on the trip. Okay, I want to know, who makes the final call in your house when you're booking your cruise or your vacation travel? Do your kiddies, your kiddos, your grandkids, do they have any say in your trips? Do you let the kids pick? Or are you still the captain of the booking process? Let me know. Yeah. Let me see. Tiffany says, that isn't an issue in my house. I pick the ships. I got you. Bridge Mac, the day that my young or grown kids pick a ship for me to cruise on will be the day they are footing. Yes. If you pay, you can play. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I know that I have some family members that their kids picked the trip. Yeah, they're like, well, such and such, little Johnny Jr. said they want to go here, so that's where we're going. All right. I didn't know 7-year-olds pulled in bank like that. Okay, I had to let you know that because the statistics are out, and when I get the inquiries for travel, I'm telling you. All right, let me give you 2 smoking hot cruise deals for this week. Let me tell you. Virgin Voyages, their Alaska sale. Virgin Voyages is not known for Alaska, so they're making sure that they're getting their name out there so they can be known for Alaska. Starting this week, select 2026 Alaska sailings are going for as low as $99 per night if you book the second sailor at 80% off. So it's the second sailor, 80% off. It's an insane value for an adults-only luxury experience to travel to Alaska. So check them out. Might maybe give them a try for Alaska. And then MSC, here it comes. It's March. So what are we going to start hearing? Spring break, right? Spring break happens at different times for the kids, but spring break, last minute, 7-night Caribbean sailings on the MSC Seashore out of Port Canaveral. They're hitting $349 per person. 7-night Caribbean cruise for late March. That includes Ocean Key, their private island, which is beautiful, which is very nice. $349 last minute. Okay. Let me tell you. Let me give you some cruise questions. All right. Okay. Which famous cruise line is the only one in the world that allows you to bring your dog or your cat on a transatlantic cruise? Let me say it again. I'm rushing because I see the time. We still got 3 minutes. Which famous cruise line is the only one in the world that allows you to bring your little dog or your little cat on a transatlantic cruise? Which one? Drop it down in the comments. I'm going to give you all the questions and I'll tell you the answers. Next question. One ship in the world holds the title for having the only full-sized planetarium at sea. Which ship is it? One ship in the world holds the title for having the only full-size planetarium at sea. Which ship is it? Okay, I have 2 more. Or do I have 3 more? No, 2. Okay. Celebrity Cruises is famous for having a half-acre of real growing grass on their top deck, the Lawn Club. However, they recently announced a $250 million renovation to take place on several ships. So what are they calling the new non-grass park area? I'm going to say it again. Celebrity Cruises is famous for having a half-acre of real growing grass on their top deck called the Lawn Club. However, they recently announced a $250 million renovation to replace it on several of their ships. What are they calling that new non-grass park area? And the last one. Which of these is the which of these is currently the oldest ship sailing for Disney Cruise Lines? You probably know that answer because I've been talking about it. Once again, which of these is currently the oldest Disney ship sailing on Disney Cruise Lines? Is it the Wonder, the Fantasy, the Magic, or the Dream? Yeah. Are these tough? Are they? Okay, okay. I was thinking maybe you would know. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Suspense no longer. Let me tell you then. Okay. So the first one, which famous cruise line is the only one in the world that allows you to bring your dog or your cat on a transatlantic crossing? Okay. Reg Mac and Tiffany, you got that one. You've been watching. Thank you. Virtual high fives, handshakes, thumbs up. You got this. Okay. But the answer to the first one is Cunard. Cunard, specifically the Queen Mary 2, will let you bring, they have a kennel master on board, and even a full-size British lamppost and New York City fire hydrant on the exercise deck for these animals so that your dogs and cats can feel right at home. So if you would like to bring your pet, Cunard, Queen Mary 2. All right. The full-size planetarium at sea. Okay, first one on the Magic, yeah. The full-size planetarium at sea, the answer, Queen Mary 2, or the Viking Orion, yeah. So maybe if we don't travel those type of ships, we wouldn't have known that one. Okay, okay. Celebrity, their planetarium, or their what is it called? The lawn club area that they're changing, they're taking it out during this renovation. What's it going to be called? It's going to be called Sunset Park. While the grass was iconic on the Solstice class ship, Celebrity is transitioning to high quality turf in the new Sunset Park to allow for more activities like movies and live folk music without wearing out the lawn. Yep. And the last one, the Vintage Voyage, a lot of you knew, the Disney Magic, 26-year-old girl looking beautiful out there. Yeah. All right, I have taken you 1 minute over your time, but I am so glad that you have joined me tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for tuning in, for watching with me. It's dinner time, at least for me. I'm going to be back next week with more cruise news, cruise trivia, and giving you all of the, at least some of the cruise deals that are out there. All right, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. I'm going to see you guys next week. All right. All right. Have a good night. Bye.